He does genuinely sound stupider, doesn't he? I swear to, like, Bezos has been a big figure for a long time. I swear to God, he did not sound this stupid a couple years ago.
What it's the analogy I can give you is
It's gotta be like good. It's like they say it's gonna be bad, but it's gonna be good. Like, Jesus, man, he was not like this. OpenAI's growth has stalled, and in Q1 2026, it had negative 122% non-GAAP operating methods. OpenAI cannot slow down because it needs $852 billion in cash flow through the end of 2030 to pay for its $600 billion plus in compute commitments. Phew! Could just borrow more money. There's always more venture capital out there, right? There is a literal infinite amount of venture capital out there, right? I assume. One hopes, one imagines. Well, versus this, you have the Atlantic article. Maybe AI isn't a bubble after all. Thanks to the rise of Claude Code and other AI agents, revenues are finally catching up to the hype. What? This is nothing. This is absolutely nothing. This is barely even a coherent argument. If you're opening with that, I just don't care. What are you're just gonna open with lying? This guy is AI stock for sure. Roge Karma. Staff writer at The Atlantic, previously a senior editor of the Ezra Klein show at the New York Times. They're trying to aggressively borrow as much of it as they can right now so they can push through to some real meaningful applications to drive revenue. It'll never work. They will never, ever, 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 ever be able to balance those sheets. And even if they could, again, the bubble isn't based on the revenue and expenses of these AI companies because the relationship between the profitability of a company and its valuation at the stock market is negligible, especially in these cases, right? These companies are worth bajillions of dollars and they're all unprofitable. The real question is, what happens when they stop being a reliable investment? Everyone who's invested in AI knows on some level, at some point, they will have to sell. And as soon as everyone makes that realization all at once, it'll be a fucking catastrophe for the market. A company accidentally spent $500 million on AI coding. Wasn't it like Microsoft? A company? A mysterious enterprise spent $500 million in a single month on Anthropic's Claude AI platform, according to Axios reporting. The culprit? No usage limits on employee licenses. That's funny as fuck. Just sitting there at the office, just leaving the Claude coin printing 24/7. Just sitting on the print button. Some companies are using AI tokens to measure productivity. I think that's why I was thinking of Microsoft, because in Microsoft, my understanding is that they actually are like, for a while they had like employee bulletins where they were like, this is the guy using the most AI tokens, bully for him, you know? And Meta, yeah. Uber burned through its entire 2026 AI budget in 4 months. Now its COO is questioning whether it's worth it. The AI numbers are starting to look very ugly. Even under best case assumptions, FT's own data shows Microsoft AI ROI at -9%, Google at -15%, Meta at -28%, and Oracle at -35%. Only Amazon barely comes out positive. Yes, but I've seen this chart, and I've seen what it implies. Hold on. Only Amazon clears a positive return under the most generous assumptions. Implied return on hyperscaler AI development 2025 to 2030. Assuming zero costs. You know, every business is profitable if you assume zero costs. That's funny. Costs nothing, loses money anyway. Yeah, how? That's fucking funny. When did news become a bad comedy routine? We weren't there covering that shit live in 2003. It's always been like this whenever the deep state sets its mind on something. I wish there was more consistent coverage of this, like in mainstream news media on the AI bubble. I guess they don't want to because the people that run the you know, the Ellisons or whatever, they don't want their big speculative bubble getting popped early by FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt coming from mainstream media. They want you to hodl. They want people to have diamond hands. Yeah, if you look up AI bubble, there's like no mainstream news coverage on the top. They just don't want to acknowledge it.
I mentioned my optimism a minute ago, and we should definitely talk about that because I think there's so many people who are afraid that AI is going to take their job. I think that there's going to be a
You think billionaires have a plan to get out before it pops? Dog, Peter Thiel just left. He left for Argentina.
labor shortage as a result. So
let's go there then.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay in space, but let's go to that because
we can come back. We can be in space too, whatever you want.
Well, but that's fascinating because I don't know if you saw Eric.
Bezos looks different. I unironically think it's because Trump won. I think that Bezos was a relatively crafty and intelligent oligarch for a while. Like Amazon is kind of an economic miracle, as evil as they are. But now that we're in the Trump 2 era, he's just turning into the same fat, stupid sludge man that everyone else associated with Trump is. I mean it. It's like the royal court over at Mar-a-Lago is affecting him as well.
gave a commencement address over the weekend.
Yeah.
And the students were booing because every time he mentioned AI, they were booing because I think they're deeply fearful and worried about whether they're going to have a job.
Yeah. Well, and the reason they're afraid of that is because all these smart people keep saying that. So there are so many smart people, and they are smart.
No fun.
And they are saying, oh my God, you know, there are going to be no more radiologists because, you know, AI can read X-rays better than a radiologist can. And there are going to be no more software engineers because AI can program better than a software engineer can. These people are wrong. So what's really going to happen is that it's going to elevate all of these people, and there's going to, it's like you've been digging, let's say you're a software engineer.
Right.
He does genuinely sound stupider, doesn't he? I swear to, like, Bezos has been a big figure for a long time. I swear to God, he did not sound this stupid a couple years ago.
What it's the analogy I can give you is
it's gotta be like good. It's like they say it's gonna be bad, but it's gonna be good. Like, Jesus, man, he was not like this.
Digging out a basement for your house with a shovel, and somebody's about to hand you a bulldozer. You should be so happy if you're digging the basement to your house and somebody says, "Hey, how about this? I have a tool here that's gonna." And what's really going to happen is we're going to have so much productivity in our economy that, for example, this is just one effect. A lot of people who have two-earner income households, one of the people is going to drop out of the workforce. That's why we're going to have a labor shortage. People, because of the productivity gains, you're going to be able to afford things. We're going to have, I predict we'll actually have deflation of certain core, assuming we let this technology play out and don't hamstring it with regulation too early. We will actually have, everything will get, food will get cheaper, and housing construction will get cheaper, and so on and so on.
Is there a transition cost? I mean,
we could even solve the permitting problem I was talking about earlier for housing.
With AI?
If you are a builder, why does
he can't seriously believe this? No. They don't. They know what they're doing. It's all about like child rape or whatever. They know what they're doing. They're just like, again, absent any external pressures, there's really not much of a reason to stay on your game, you know?
Does it take you 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, 5 years, depending on what municipality you live in, to get a building permit?
AI should be able to do it.
AI should do that in 10 seconds, and it should give you a yes or no.
Like like he's laughing at you. He's laughing at you. Like, obviously that's not how that works. Like, the idea that the reason it takes so long to get a building permit is because it takes 5 years to fill out the form, you know?
Seconds, and then you should have your authority to build it. By the way, if it says no, it should give you the 6 reasons why, and then you go change those things and resubmit. And you start building tomorrow instead of 2 years from now.
But how do you answer? I mean, Amazon's laid a whole bunch of people off. You heard Mark Zuckerberg.
Not because of AI.
But Mark Zuckerberg recently laid a bunch of people off.
Is that because of AI?
Jack Dorsey has. Jack Dorsey ascribes it directly to AI.
Well, you'd have to talk to Jack about that.
It's so weird that they're like, they have to simultaneously tell to consumers that AI won't cost them their jobs, but then they have to tell investors that the point of AI is to replace expensive workers. You know? They're talking out of both sides of their mouths. They're just really bad at maintaining the kayfabe. What's interesting is he sounds and is behaving more like Elon. Just look at his Twitter. He's been really pushing for this lately, the zeroing out taxes on the bottom half of earners. It's like a freebie he can promise because the bottom half of earners basically don't pay taxes anyway. So he's like, you know, it's like a freebie he can throw out there. Like, no, I'm populist. Look, you people who don't pay taxes anyway, you don't even have to pay taxes. Yeah, it's like no tax on tips. Bottom half earner here, I definitely pay taxes, boss. I mean, it depends on where you are in the bottom half. A lot of Americans functionally pay no income tax. I mean, you pay sales tax and stuff, you know? You get a rebate. Yeah, you're getting your rebate, right? About 40% of American households pay no federal individual income tax. 40%! So he's like, oh yeah, you guys, you know, you already don't pay federal income tax. Now you won't have to pay federal income tax. In 2012, it was famously 47%, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Hence the Mitt Romney quote, you know, 47%, never gonna listen to you. How? Because of rebates. They don't make enough money. Yeah, I looked that up. The top article was in reference to that Mitt Romney quote, that infamous Mitt Romney quote, where he was like, "I'm not even going to try to appeal to those 47% of people." The USA doesn't make money, basically. I mean, we're deficit spending like crazy. No, the bottom chunk of society, by and large, does not pay federal income tax. 5 myths about this. Urban.org. Oh, they're talking about other types of taxes. No, it's about federal income tax. Everyone should pay taxes. 100% of their income in taxes, God willing. I think rich people shouldn't be allowed to dodge it. I think poor people should pay 100% of taxes, and rich people should pay nothing because they're job creators. And they're firstborn, yeah. Mitt Romney would agree. Well, Mitt Romney was saying more people should pay federal income tax, which, you know, I agree with. You do pay taxes through your salary? Well, you get a rebate. If you're part of the group of people who's not paying any federal income tax, you get a rebate. Like it takes it out of your W-2, but you get a rebate. What if you're like 14 and have no expenses and no income? Do you just like owe 20K by the time you get a job? What? What are you talking about? When you get your when you get paychecks from the boss, they withhold a portion of your income and pay it to the government for like they withhold it for your federal income tax. But if you make little enough money, when you file your taxes, you input that, and also, you know, you input your deductible, and it's like, oh, it turns out you actually don't owe us those taxes because you're poor enough, and then you get the money back in a rebate, a couple thousand, you know, whatever else. I think the average tax rebate for poor people in America is around 2,000 to 3,000. Really depends. It really depends. You might still pay state taxes, of course, and you're going to pay some specific taxes, you know, but not federal income. No sales tax in Oregon. It's so good, man. Yeah, up here in Seattle, it's 10.875% or something like that. Got to pay for our $25 billion ballot extension somehow. Washington has no income tax, though. Yep, that's true. That's pretty true. Yeah, I don't know shit about VAT taxes. We don't believe in that here in America. They're un-American. Bosch, I hope you don't take it the wrong way, but I get the vibe that you don't see AI replacing significant amounts of labor because it's a prediction machine, obvious stuff, paralegals. Okay, the real red pill that you have to take is that the employment rate has very little to do with how much work there is to do and everything to do with maintaining a certain degree of social stability. If we didn't need people to work jobs, we would make up jobs for them to work so they had something to do for 8 hours a day. Like right now, we still have unemployed people, even though there's lots of work to do and lots of money with which to do it. We will always maintain a variable degree of unemployment, but it's largely just a way of keeping people a certain level of occupied. No amount of AI, you know, job replacement efficiency or whatever else will ever change that. Think about it this way, like the Industrial Revolution has made significant advances in how few people it takes to produce a given widget. We've also like outsourced most of our manufacturing, but nowadays a ton of people just work service jobs. Most of those service jobs, strictly speaking, are not necessary. Like you could probably get rid of a significant number of people working, Jesus, I don't know, Starbucks or whatever. It's not socially necessary, you know? It's just that there's a kind of social equilibrium that we arrive at where past a certain point, unemployment becomes politically disadvantageous. So you start incentivizing that employment through a variety of state and federal mechanisms designed to make it valuable to employ people. The federal government does this in another way, a variety of ways, like by keeping the minimum wage low or by incentivizing employment past a certain point, you know, subsidies. The gist of it essentially is that I don't think AI replacing workers really matters that much in the long run. All jobs are bullshit or not bullshit. You know, I don't know. There are tons of socially necessary jobs that aren't even being done right now. Our bridges are falling apart. We can't even build new ones. So BS jobs are by design that. I guess my question is like, what is a BS job? Like when is a job socially necessary? Are all of the people employed right now in socially necessary jobs? Probably only like less than half are. Like society would be more or less fine if the labor of about half the population was simply wiped from existence. Like say they checked into work and then did literally no work. You know what I mean? Yeah, email jobs, bullshit like that. Hell, sometimes companies will employ people just because it looks better to investors to have like an uptick in hiring, you know? It makes it look like you're expanding. Basically what I'm saying is that everything's a bullshit job, or nothing is. Are you in favor of gas taxes? Feel like pretty much everything should be covered through estate taxes, and income, capital gains, so on and so forth. Unrealized capital gains. Too many little, you know, fidgety taxes. Too much bullshit, you know? Too much little bullshit. I don't know. Vosh be like, basically everything is fake or not. I don't know. It might be. That's the most honest analysis anybody can give you. Anything at all. Anything more deliberate and specific than that, somebody's lying to you. Why does it need to be socially necessary in order for it to be acceptable? I don't think it does. I guess what I'm saying is that if we really wanted to, in America, let's carve out America. If we wanted to, we could make America run essentially as it is right now with the same amount of services provided and products delivered, like the same amount of overall productive labor being produced with probably half the population unemployed. Like, obviously, the problem with mass unemployment then would not be the lack of productive labor. The problem would be that you'd have like 150 million Americans who are jobless and poor and like starving and roaming around and breaking windows and stuff, right? The problem with the unemployment then is social friction, not the useful labor it provides. There's a reason why the government, why the Fed wants to keep unemployment down to a certain point. A low level of frictional unemployment's good for businesses, but too much unemployment and you get a bunch of social instability. This is the same argument for a shorter work week, basically? Yeah, to an extent. Or it factors into it, yeah. It's a component. Here, dark factory in China? Oh, you mean 100% automated factory. Why not just say that? Look, again, it's a... Andrew Yang talked about this a bit, but he's an idiot, so who knows? It is a question we will have to answer at some point. Why is it that making a production process more efficient makes people, on average, in the population poorer? Like, you fully automate a factory. Now nobody's employed there, except for maybe a couple engineers who manage it, you know, make sure all the widgets are working fine. This now makes society poorer because the profits generated by the sales of whatever's being produced at the factory go almost entirely to the capital owners, along with a small portion that goes towards like maintenance of capital resources, whatever, paying off the engineers, rather than to labor, you know? So what happens if you structure an entire economy that way? What happens if you design an economy, you have technology so advanced that nobody needs to work? Obviously, you know, you could, I mean, what, does everyone just starve at that point? Sometimes people say UBI is the answer, but I don't know. I feel like there might be a, how do I put this? I feel like everyone has to work. It's kind of like everyone paying taxes. You know what I mean? Paying taxes, it's not just about the money that goes to the government. It's also about the signing of the social contract, the collective engagement with the agreement we make socially, which is that taxation is a part of maintaining a functioning civilization. I feel like work should be the same way. Not the work we do now, but work conceptually. I feel like everyone needs to be productive, even in an abstract sense. Everyone should feel like they're chipping in. You know what I mean? I think most people want to. I think that most people like the feeling of contributing to the world in some way. Like if everyone was like completely post-scarcity, you know, you have no worries, food, shelter, whatever else, I think people would still want to go and volunteer or whatever. I think by and large people want that. Unfortunately, it's become clear to me through, I mean, God, so many examples, so many microcosms, that just because something is naturally healthy for a human to do, just because something is reasonable and good for us, it does not mean we're necessarily going to do it. For example, the human body is meant to engage in a certain degree of physical activity every day, but most people just sit still all day, right? Even though you are happier and healthier and will live a better and longer life if you get up and do like a walk or a run and a stretch every day, a lot of people don't, because we've created an environment where the forces external to us are no longer pressing us to do those essential helpful things. So what happens if we live in a world where nobody needs to work? Everybody should work, but nobody's doing it anyway because we're all, I don't know, we're on our dang iPhones. Know what I'm talking about? People make bad decisions. Basically what I'm saying is the government should shoot you if you don't work at least 12 hours a week, okay? I think you're talking about alienation. Yeah, it's just that it's worth remembering that, you know, people, you show me the incentives and I'll show you the population, the disposition of the population, right? Alienation sometimes can merely be a byproduct of the availability of alienating life decisions, you know? Like, you could theoretically create a non-coercive, non-oppressive political and social environment where people choose, merely out of convenience and laziness, to self-alienate, which is not great. You got to play a bit of the floor is lava, you know? You have to get a pep in people's step. I'm a little bit I'm a little pessimistic about the the extent to which our built environment, compels us towards bad decision making on account of them dang smartphones. China's velocity of money is 0.4 today. Relative to their M2, that sounds pretty good. What's our velocity M2? Well, we changed the definition recently. No, ours is way higher. Ours is 1.4. I'd be interested in learning more about how they measure M2 over there, since there's a definitional difference. Bank metric? Yeah, maybe. There is definitely a higher level of monetary velocity in China because they just don't have as much money trapped up in the speculative, speculative economy. But it's so easy to lie with statistics. I'd need to read more on it. We know the Pope is anti-AI. People want me to cover it. Like, I saw a tweet on this, and I think it's quite funny, it's quite salient, that in any other era, a pope issuing a decree against a modern technology and encouraging people to retain their humanity would be an unambiguously conservative position for the pope to take. You know what I mean? That'd be, like, traditionally, that would be where it would settle, on the other side of the fence. Not in this case, though. We do live in an absurd timeline. Introduction. Humanity, created by God in all its grandeur, is today facing a pivotal choice, either to construct the new Tower of Babel or to build the city in which God and humanity dwell together. Lefty meme. Pack it up. There's no way he typed all this himself. Do you think he chat GPT'd it? I look up Pope Encyclical, the #1 article is from the fucking Onion. How freaked out should Silicon Valley be about the Pope's encyclical? Anthropic co-founder Christopher Olah was there at the Vatican to effectively give it his blessing. I guess Anthropic's trying to position itself as like the responsible, conscientious, pro-human AI company, considering the fact that they got shafted by the Pentagon. Remember when that contract of theirs fell through? Now that they are like outside the inner circle of the White House anyway, they might as well position themselves to be more. Yeah, it's a branding thing, I assume. They were doing that before the whole contract thing. Yeah, and then they cucked themselves to try to get the contract. I think it's a pretty weak document, said Dean Ball, a senior fellow at the Foundation for American Innovation and a former AI policy advisor in the Trump admin. It essentially amounts to a deeply anti-American screed in favor of technocratic regulation of artificial intelligence. That's just not what I needed from the church. Good to know, man. Some good quotes for him. Yeah, I don't really care. AI is principally a financial instrument more so than a technological one. We'll see how long we have till the bubble pops. If it ever does. A new encyclical, nearly 40,000 words! Jesus Christ, just let me finish Dracula first. The sooner it pops, the less damage there is. Oh yeah, good luck with that. God, imagine being one of the sorry motherfuckers who just opens up their 401k to like an index fund or whatever 5 days before the bubble pops. They have like 60 grand in their 401k account. It drops to $5 overnight, and they're like, well, guess I'll just die. Is there a reason we aren't addressing that it was found to be partly written by AI? For one, didn't know. For two, why phrase it like that? Didn't I say it was written by ChatGPT? How do you know if something's written by AI unless it has like a really obvious tell? Many portions of Magnificat Humanitas appears to be AI written. Ran it through Pangram? This stuff isn't reliable. The AI detection software returns false positives all the time. I mean, I don't really care. Not here to defend the honor of the papacy. I do feel bad for all of the like students who are submitting real, genuine written essays that are getting flagged for AI because of the detection software their teachers are using, though. Because that shit does happen. That happened to me. That's fucked up. Gotta handwrite everything.